Hello everyone, Vegas Vic 1965. In this week's video, I've got Lucy71 on the Adults Craft server, AP Vanilla, that's going to help me do this week's video, kind of a tutorial, kind of a ride. It's a minecart ride through ravines, all underground mine shafts, some scary moments, but nothing dangerous. But anyway, I'll do a little tutorial on this. We'll see Lucy go through a little bit of the riding portion of it. It was a lot of fun making, a lot of fun having Lucy give me a hand with this. So without further ado, let's find out.
Don't try this yourself. It's extremely dangerous.
First off, let's start with the return. When the minecart comes up, I have a cactus set here. There's a number of different ways that you could do this. I just like using the cactus. The hopper is stronger than the cactus. It's very, very doubtful that you're going to lose your minecart. But as the track goes across the hopper here, you'll be able to see, hopefully, yes, there's another hopper here you can see that actually filters all the way through across underneath this one here. Goes here and then back over to where I have a dispenser that you can click that button and get another minecart to go off on your ride. And then when you set your minecart here, you press this button and off you go once you get in. Now you got to make sure that if you're going to use a cactus, that you don't have anything in that spot or anything around it. In the corners is fine, but if you try and put a block there, then the cactus is going to pop off. So just put a sand block down, have your hopper there going that direction, into a hopper here, into that hopper, and then another hopper over here, and then back over, and it'll eventually go to your dispenser. However you want to do it really depends on, I can't give you a real honest to goodness tutorial on how to do that. Just show you how the hopper lineup just leads over to your dispenser, because your configuration may be a little bit differently, the wall, the way you've got it set up, but that's basic. The basics of it is I'm using a sand block, then put cactus on top, and make sure that all four sides of it doesn't have another block next to it. The corners are okay here, and also if you see the honey block, the corners are just fine. And that way you want to make sure you have space here too, so when the person does pop off there, they'll land right here, and this is where they'll end up when they get off the ride. Okay, for the target portion of it, in case you want to add this to your minecart ride, it makes a lot of fun for the people that are actually going to ride. Gives them something else to do besides what they'll be seeing as they go along the ride. But the target block itself is made with a hay bale in the center of your crafting kit. And then you're going to put redstone, just like you see where in the same places that you see the redstone lamps. It'll be on the sides and the top and the bottom, and that'll get you a target block. So hay bale in the middle, redstone on the top, bottom, left, and right. Now for the redstone lamps, pretty similar. In that configuration also, you're going to want to put a glowstone in the center, and then above, below, left, and right, you'll put a redstone dust, and that'll get you the redstone lamps. And then when you set that, if someone hits the target, then the redstone lamps that you see will light up. So if they're successful hitting it, it'll light up. As you're going down the track, you won't need any redstone powered rails at all, but just the forward momentum by going down the hill will take care of that. And then when you get down here to the lower sections, it depends on how fast you want to go, but you can put a powered rail over a redstone block or a switch or whatever way you want to about every 30 blocks. Later on, I'll show you where I'd say every 20 blocks to keep it at a certain speed, but later on I actually slow it down to about 30 blocks, and I'll explain why. This section is the Loopaloop, and I'm going to go over that here in just a second, along with the drop-off that I have also in this. So let's take a look at that. So this happens to be the Loopaloop that was developed by Mumbo Jumbo about 5 years ago, and he had a little challenge about if you did this, put this in your video and then shoot it over to him. I don't know if he'll remember this. Maybe he will. But at any rate, I'm going to put a link down in the description on how you would build this Loopaloop. It's not an actual Loopaloop where you go upside down, but it works pretty similar. Gives you this kind of the same experience of doing that. And I thought it worked out pretty well on the minecart ride that we have done on AP Vanilla, the Adelscraft server. The only thing from his tutorial that you're going to want to change, because redstone changes from version to version, as we know, and I had to make a small change, and that was right here. In his tutorial, you'll see that he's got a repeater set to 4 ticks there and 4 ticks here. In order for this to work, you're going to need to add an additional redstone piece, 3 more pieces, and you'll need to add this repeater here set to a single tick, and that will actually propel you and get you to the timing set right. So this slime block will push you over. The piston and slime block combo will actually push you over onto this track up here, and he goes through his as far as using this or not using this last block and rail. But I decided to go without it because it just seems that we do hang a little longer than we should in the ride itself. And for just the purpose of having fun, I just got rid of it, and I thought it made the ride a whole lot better of an experience. Again, I'm going to link that down in the description for Mumbo Jumbo's Loop-de-Loop ride that you can do for yourself if you plan on making one of these. But I also want to go over this here as well. The drop, you want to be really careful, especially if you're going to be doing this underground like you saw or you're going to be seeing or did see in the videos that I made with Lucy. When you're making a drop, you don't necessarily have to have a wall here, but in case you do go backwards and there's nothing back there, yeah, anybody who's going to be riding your ride may meet a terrible fate if you do. So what I did on the minecart ride that I have, I just went up 2 blocks. So in case for some reason somebody did happen to go backwards, they go back, they hit this, and then they go forward again. But as far as the spacing goes, I think I left about 3 or 4 spaces here. It's up to you. I would go more than 1 or 2, probably at least a minimum of like 3. You could try to maybe test it out yourself to see if you can get this to work for you to make it a little more kind of like a jump scare type thing. And then as far as the spaces down here, you could go probably 2. I wouldn't go any more than 2. 3 will probably work most of the time, but if you do glitch out, you may land up in this spot right here where there wouldn't happen to be a block to catch you, the rail. So this is probably the minimum I would leave out. just 2 spaces. Like I said, 3 will probably work, but if something happens, there's a little bit of lag, that person may end up landing on this spot when they come down, and they may meet a horrible fate, so be really careful when you're building that drop. As far as the distance go, it's I don't think it really makes too big a difference as long as you're not dropping them at a serious rate distance. As far as the minecarts go, as far as I know, there's really no, for something like a 6-block drop, you're not going to have any damage at all, at least in all my testing and the ride that I have that you saw or did see. There was no damage at all to the player as they drop down there, but it does give kind of a little bit of a shock that, hey, the track is out, boom, they fall. Okay, this happens to be a section that may look like an original mineshaft that generated with the game, but it's not. I actually added some of these in myself, and it's real simple. You got oak fencing and oak blocks, oak planks that you put in, and of course you can add some cobwebs, and you can get those cobwebs by using shears or a hoe with silk touch on it, like I did last week, my hoe tutorial. But you'll also notice that I have light gray carpet down here, and the speeds at which the players will be traveling through here will make the light gray carpet pretty much indistinguishable, yet it will achieve the part of at least making it spawn proof. That way we don't have mobs running across the track, which will stop the minecart. And if it happens to be a creeper, that could have a disastrous effect not only to the player that's trying to ride through here and having fun, but also to anybody else that comes after it, because you're going to have to come back in and repair it. So you want to make sure that if you have something like this, a block that is attached to it, a creeper, if you don't have that spawn proof, could spawn there and then walk across onto the tracks. Now, if you left something like this, just a 1 block or a couple of blocks over here, then yes, if a creeper did spawn in that area and a player came by, then the player would probably hear the hiss, get a little jump scare, but he'd be going by so fast that the creeper would only get maybe a hiss or 2 off, just enough to give him a light jump scare. But you don't want to have something like this that is not spawn proof and have any of those mobs come across onto the tracks to mess that up. Now, I've got target blocks situated throughout, as you saw earlier. I have 1 here and 1 there, but you want to make sure that you give enough distance. When these people are coming, like for example, around a bend, you want to give them enough time to hit that target, or at least try to hit that target. And trust me, when you first try this, it's not as easy as you think. You're the moving target, not the target moving. So it can be a little difficult. Make sure you have enough room, test it out yourself, and if you find that it's a little too difficult, then move the target out a little bit to where the player has a little more opportunity to at least try to hit it. A number of areas down in here that I have not got spawn proofed. Down over here, I'm not too concerned about it. You can spawn proof this as much as you want or not spawn proof it. Like right in here, I have not spawn proofed this, but the light levels are high enough that which are 8 and above, so nothing's going to spawn there anyway. But if you wanted to, you could have some areas down here that were spawnable blocks, where maybe some zombies and some things could spawn in there. Just be real careful that you don't kill your players as you're going through if it's just be a joyride. The only ones they can really tell with the gray carpet, and I probably could have swapped these out, was the blocks here, as you can see. The doorite, where I put some light gray carpet on top. If anybody was really paying attention, they'd notice that. But other than that, spawn proofing is pretty simple. You just need to get around and check your light levels and set down light gray carpet. It'll match up and blend up really well with the stone that's already existing in, for example, a cavern like this. I thought this might add a nice touch. I found this as I was going through. It's a one of those broken portals that just came with, I think, version 1.16. So I had to go through and have a target. This is a pretty simple target for people to hit as they go through, and also gives them something to look at. You know, we have a simple target as you're coming through. People should have an opportunity to hit. There's a few easy targets and there's a few difficult targets. It's really up to you. Again, you see I spawn proofed it with a light gray carpet. You can go with a brown carpet if you wanted to keep that a little more indistinguishable. As far as the drop and the loop-to-loop, I went over those earlier, but for the drop itself, I added a sign here, danger, so it gives them a little idea that something's coming up. The glass blocks make that unspawnable, so you won't have any mobs popping in on you unannounced. And then as you go a little higher, I have bridge out, so they can read that as well, and all of a sudden there's the end of the track, there's nothing there, and then off they go. So it's kind of exciting. You want to be careful, as I mentioned in that a little earlier, that I put a couple blocks here because in case they do for some reason go backwards somewhere along the ride, that they'll hit this and they'll keep on going, so they won't drop off down below. This part is actually part of an original game designed, or this was generated with the game itself when the game was created, the mine shaft. And it actually goes around here. So if you find something like this, a spawner, what you want to do in order to get, because you don't want people just to come flying through, nothing is going to spawn. In order to try and get these items, these mobs, whatever spawner that you may have found, if you were lucky enough to find one, in order for them to spawn, then you need to bring them within 16 blocks of this and give that spawner a chance to actually generate some mobs. And how I did this here, as you can see from above, I brought them in. They're within that 16 blocks as they're coming through that first track. So that's going to get the spawner started. And as they come around, I put a couple of windows in between, and then they'll start to hear things that'll be spawning in that room. And then as they come around, they do another loop around it, and they come around this. And here's where I've actually slowed the track down. And I've put these redstone blocks along with a powered rail about every 30 blocks. Just be careful and test it out yourself. If the speed is not right, if it stops, then of course you need to make it a little sooner. But at least as they come around, things start to spawn, and they're moving fast enough through here, but not too fast to where things will spawn. They'll see it and like, whoa! So it adds a little more excitement to it. I don't suggest leaving it open. Again, the mobs that spawn may get across the tracks and cause problems for your players. And if you're doing this for entertainment, you don't want to do that. But it was a lot of fun. Lucy really enjoyed it. She thought the spawner was a great idea. I had this open just to this side where they could see through. And eventually I changed it out to where it was all the way around so they could view this as they're coming all the way through it. I think the effect turned out pretty nice. Well, that about wraps it up for me. Just remember to watch your light levels and your spacing. You don't want to have any blocks that are attached to the track itself. If you're going to do something that is going to be a little bit dangerous and you're going to have some spawning out there, you don't want anything attached to it because the mobs can actually walk onto the track and then, of course, stop any players that have to be coming through. So watch those light levels, watch the blocks that are attached. As you can see in my video, hopefully these will help you if you decide to make yourself your own little minecart ride and throw some things in there. It was a lot of fun making, and as you can see by Lucy's little trip, she had a good time, and she's been on it many times, and I'm sure some of the other guys from AP Vanilla will give it a shot. I know I'm going to get back on there and practice. I definitely need some practice from when we're moving on a minecart. It's not easy to hit them targets. But anyway, if you like the video, click that like button. If you want to subscribe for my past or future videos, click that subscribe button. It really helps me and lets me know that I provide great content for you guys each and every week. I make videos Wednesday and have them edited out by early Thursday morning at 5 a.m. every single week. If you have any questions for me, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. I always answer my comments. Thank you again for watching, everyone. Have a great day. And until next week's video, we'll see you then. Bye-bye.